Smokin' Jays are back. That's Smokin' Jay Cutlers for you new folks around here. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. Overreaction Monday following the Bears' 21-16 loss to the Colts in Week 2. A little refresher for everybody. This is our Smokin' Jay rumor meter. If there's 0 Smokin' Jays, it's fake news. 1 Smokin' Jay, it's barely true. A little pun on words there. 2 Smokin' Jays, people are talking. 3 Smokin' Jays, it's pretty likely. And then 4 Smokin' Jays, bear down. It is a fact. All right. Overreaction Monday, Smokin' Jay style. Matt Eberflus is on the hot seat. Obviously, I have to infer a little bit here. I'm going to go 3 Smokin' Jays. I think it's more than 2. It's probably, closer to 3 than 2, but I don't think it's like we're 75% there, but 60, 65. People are more than talking. It's trending in that direction. I will say that. I just don't see how you could look at this any other way than it feels like his seat is warming up. I mean, at some point, the results are the results, regardless of whose fault it is, regardless if it's more of the offense than the defense, considering his specialty. He's the head coach. He's in charge. He's got to deliver these wins. Otherwise, he's not going to be here long term. I mean, the resume is what it is, and he gets a bit of a pass for year one because obviously the Bears rebuilt that roster, and it kind of felt like they were tanking the second half of the year. But let's take year one out of it. So 3-14 comes off. He's still 8-12 since then. It's not like this thing is going in a great direction. 3-16 on the road is pretty embarrassing. Like, they don't win away from home. And he's 2-10 in the division. And I can't help but go back to that opening presser with Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus when Poles said, we're going to take the North and never get it back. Well, if you're 2-10 against your divisional opponents, you're not going to take the North. You're nowhere close. The North is actually taking you. So if this doesn't get shifted around quickly, how could you not think that he's on the hot seat? And that's why I said on a video earlier, and I'll say it again here, with this upcoming schedule, the way it fell this year, Rams at home, they're very beat up. I know they just beat the 49ers. That's a winnable game. Chicago opened as a favorite in that one. Panthers at home, yeah, Andy Dalton's in there now. It's going to be tougher, but you should beat Carolina. You've got a much better roster. Jags in London, they're off to an 0-2 start. Play tonight on Monday Night Football. We'll see how they play against Buffalo. Then the bye. It feels like these 3 weeks are pretty pivotal. I really do think so. If you're 1-2 or 0-3 in these next 3 games, I just, how am I supposed to defend this anymore? And it's why last year I would have made a change, but they didn't do it. So I think the seat's warming up. I don't think it's scalding, but I got to think some tough conversations have been had at House all over the last 24, 36 hours, and it's justified because this product just isn't good enough, period, end of story, and that starts with the head coach. How hot is Matt Eberflus's seat? I gave it 3 Smokin' Jays, so in that 6-7 range. I think 6-5, that's where I would go. I think that's fair, and it's a wins, losses oriented business. You've got to produce results, especially in year 3. And you're off to a 1-2 start, and the loss on Sunday to the Colts against a team that literally was scared to throw the football after Anthony Richardson's second pick it's quite frankly, it's inexcusable. So let me know what you guys think. Scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not hot at all, 10 being scalding. All right. Subscribe to the channel because put out a video with more detail, more thoughts on Matt Eberflus's potential hot seat status and how I think the clock is ticking and why these next 3 weeks are so pivotal. So dive into that as well after you watch this video. Hit the subscribe button. Go to the content tab. If you see this thumbnail, more Flus talk here on Chicago Bears Now. Let's shift to a player here. DeAndre Swift must be benched. 4 Smokin' Jays, bear down. It needs to happen. Now, we've talked about Swift, mentioned him earlier as well. I don't think it's all his fault, but you need more production at running back. I'll explain why I would make a change after we talk about our awesome sponsor, Z-Biotics. Comes in these little vials, and these little vials can make a huge difference when you wake up the next day. Let me explain. I may not drink as much as I used to since I'm a little bit older now, but when I do, like on game days watching the Bears, I typically don't bounce back the next day like I once did. That all changed when I found Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Free alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Free alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly, and then get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've used it for a while, I believe the hype, and you should too. With this technology, by the way, they will release different products that have nothing to do with alcohol. So go to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use code chatsports, all one word, to get 15% off your first order. You can also scan the QR code on screen to get started today. That's code chatsports at zbiotics.com/chatsports for 15% off. Check that link in the comments and in the description of this episode. It's ZBiotics, baby. You look at DeAndre Swift. I mean, you're kind of at a loss of words, and I get it. The offensive line has been bad, but I don't think it explains being this bad. 37 carries for 68 yards. I mean, that's laughable. Like, you have no choice but to make a change. And again, I think there's probably more blame on the O-line. I think there's probably more blame on the coaching on how they're utilizing him. But sometimes you have to make a change just to try something else to see if it'll be better. And I saw enough from Roschon Johnson against the Colts where it's like, well, he's going to hit the hole north-south and he's going to fall forward at least, break some tackles. And that's why I would pivot to this type of pecking order. I'd go Roschon RB1. I'd have Khalil Herbert be my number 2. And then DeAndre Swift can be my number 3, come in on obvious passing downs. He can also, if you're trying to get a change of pace play, you can give him some touches there. But I think his role needs to reduce dramatically, at least in the short term, and especially while this offensive line continues to struggle. How would you grade DeAndre Swift right now? Because remember, you paid him 3 years and $24 million. So far worth the money? Not even close. A, B, C, D, or F? I think it has to be an F, right? Like, it's not good enough. And again, even if he's not the biggest person to blame, Roschon averaged 3.8 yards per carry yesterday. It's not great, but it's a lot better. I'd have to give this an F for DeAndre Swift. Caleb Williams is a big problem. I've seen this on some of Bears Twitter. This is fake news. It's not true. It's not accurate. It's ridiculous to say. It would almost be ridiculous to say even if he was absolutely shitting the bed and getting worse. We're 3 games in. But that actually hasn't been the case. He's gotten better each week. I mean, think about week 1 against the Titans. He was struggling to complete passes, right? And then against the Texans, while under siege all night, wasn't great, but it was better. And then against the Colts, still 3 turnovers in there, still 2 picks, although you could argue 2 of the 3 turnovers were at least not fully his fault. Certainly, you could argue were more other people's faults. But I don't care what the circumstances are. You have to drop back almost 60 times, and you complete 33 of 52 for 360 plus, throw your first 2 touchdowns. Like, you're making progress. Like, he's improving each week despite the running game going the other way, getting worse. So, it's been rocky. We're hoping it smooths out a little bit. Some of the downfield accuracy hasn't been great. He's had some wild misses on deep throws where he's overthrown guys by 10 yards, but it's clearly getting better. He's progressing. Now, you hope it continues to stay linear. It continues to improve that way. But I'm really not that concerned about the quarterback. I'm really not. Now, the concern I do have is if you can't give him support with a running game over the course of 17 games, 1, that's going to suscept him to more hits because you have to drop him back more. And 2, it's kind of hard to trust the coaching staff right now. Are they going to put him in the best positions to succeed? The 2 best plays in the game against the Colts were play-action shots, and you only did it a few times. You did it twice, and then you tried another one, and then Cole Kmet couldn't block Leatu Latu. Again, scheme issue. Mercedes Lewis did nothing on that play. So you do have to question, can Caleb develop properly here? Well, I think he's good enough where he can overcome some of this stuff. Obviously, if it continues like this with the coaching, I think you'll make a change after this year, but that's the concern. Not with the player himself, but with some of the surroundings and coaching he's having to deal with. Are you guys concerned with Caleb Williams? Type Y for yes or type N for no, because I'm really not, and I don't think I have blinders on. Like, we're 3 games in, and it's gotten better every single week. Like, I feel fine about the quarterback. He's the least of my concerns in terms of who you could blame. Eberflus, Waldron, Chris Morgan, offensive line play, situational play calling. Like, these are all bigger concerns than Caleb Williams right now. He's a rookie who's improving. Like, point to the coaching. It's been bad. The O-line scheme has been bad, and the play has been worse. And the play calling, especially in certain situations, has been a disaster like this play was. I mean, the 4th and 1 pistol speed option. Look at the O-lineman, by the way. This play had everything that's gone wrong with the offense so far this year. Bad play call, bad personnel usage, and the offensive line just getting buried. They're all on their ass. Like, I mean, this play had no chance to begin with. You know how I know it really has no play? When they're all on their ass before DeAndre Swift even catches the pitch. I mean, that is pretty remarkable when you think about it. So, yeah, long story short, there's problems. I don't think Caleb's anywhere near the top of that list. Terrell Smith, he got injured in that game. Matt Eberflus didn't discuss the significance of it, but said it was the only notable injury from week 3. He's dealing with the hip issue. Not a major deal. He is your 4th corner, but he's your top backup. So, you know, if Tyreek Stevenson or Jalen Johnson went down, you'd have to dip deeper in your depth with a guy like Jalen Jones. Something to monitor here, but otherwise the Bears came out of that game clean. There you have it. Overreaction Monday. Smokin' Jays are back. If you want Smokin' Jays to be here more frequently, let me know in the comments. Give me a Smokin' Jay in the comment section down below. My name is Harrison Graham. Don't forget to subscribe for more free content.